I'm here, but I want to go there. I'm here, but I want to go there. Have you ever been to an airport? I traveled around the world. I've got 4 million air miles. And it's amazing to me. I will check in, whether it's in China or wherever it is, and immediately I have to go to the board and find out where I am before I can determine where I want to go. Or you can go into a mall. Everybody knows the red dot on the mall. You go in and you're looking for a store and it shows you you're here, and over here, that store is where you want to go. I'm here, but I want to go there. I'm going to share a message with you here that really, to me, is very exciting because it's some precepts that I learned many, many years ago. Probably one of the greatest instruments that I have to talk about this is my GPS. You all have a GPS? It's amazing, isn't it? Mine is called the Waze. Now let me share with you why this is so amazing. Number one, it tells you where you are. It shows you where you want to go. But listen to this. It tells you what you're going to see in between. I'll be going down the road and it'll sound an alarm. It'll go beep, beep, beep. And I look down and it's a car stalled on the side of the road. I go a little bit further, beep, beep, beep. It's a wreck in front of you, and it shows you how to reroute. Or I love this one, beep, beep, beep. Police, I love that one. Point being, it's telling you what you're going to see as you're moving forward down the road. I played college football, and I had a linebacker coach. We loved him. We loved him because he would scout the other team. And he would tell us what we were going to see next week when we face the opposition. Keeping all this in mind, this message today is to share 5 things that I want to share with you that hopefully you'll incorporate it. You don't have to. Things that I've incorporated in order to have the precepts needed in order to have a good journey down the road. It all started with a gentleman named Vince Lombardi. Oh, Vince Lombardi, what a gentleman. They brought Vince Lombardi in to the Green Bay Packers. During this period of time, the Green Bay Packers were miserable. They were horrible. They brought him in, and here's all the camera crew and all the press, and they're saying, Mr. Lombardi, what are you going to do to improve this team? Are you going to change the offense? Are you going to change the defense? Are you going to change the players' lineup? Are you going to change people in the main office? What are you going to do, Mr. Lombardi? He put on his glasses and he looked in the camera and he said, I'm not going to change the offense. I'm not going to change the defense. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to pass the ball better. We're going to catch the ball better. We're going to tackle better. Gentlemen and ladies, we're going to become brilliant on the basics. Brilliant on the basics. So number 1 today, I've learned a lot of things in my life, but one thing is for sure, if you diversify too fast into too many different areas of life, it is pure trouble. You want to become brilliant on the basics before you move on. Now, dependent upon what that is, marriage, there's basic things you need to do in order to have a good marriage. In business, if you're in sales, naturally there's good basics that you need to know, sales techniques. But you have to stay with those basics. See, if you stay with the basics, you stay in the creative state of mind. And that creative state of mind is a mind that will help you develop future businesses. I had a friend that told me one time this story. So there was a gentleman named Larry Don Johnson. Larry Don was a stock car driver down outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. Oh, he was amazing. Every Friday night, he'd go out on the dirt track, and he would win. Larry Don would win 9 out of 10 of those races. 9 out of 10 of the races he would win. ESPN picked it up, and they went down, and they sat down, and they visited with him, and he was coming off the track on a Friday night, and he came over to visit with ESPN, and the gentleman was there on the back of the camera, and they asked him the question, Larry Don, how do you do it? How in the world do you win 90% of your races? NASCAR is knocking at the door. What do you have to say about winning? How do you do it, Larry Don? Now he had a big old wad of tobacco in his mouth. queued it up, kind of spit it to the side, and he looked straight in the camera and he said, here's how I win. I don't have any brakes. I either win or I crash. Rule number 2, know what you can control and what you can't control. Oh, we worry so much about things we can't control. My whole lifetime there's been people, and I myself at times, worry about what's going on in Washington, D.C. Well, the only thing I can do there is vote, but there's no reason to worry about that all the time. I can't control that. Now here's a couple of things that I want you to consider controlling. Number 1 is how you respond to those negative things that come into your life. Are you going to respond with, oh, I can't believe this happened to me? Well, it did. Are you going to be upset? Or are you going to go, what can I learn from this? What can I learn from this? So number 1, you can control your attitude, and number 2, how you speak. Walt Disney. Wow, what a gentleman when you read about his story. He created Disneyland. Beyond Disneyland, he stepped out and he was starting Disney World. Now here he is in the midst of finalizing Disney World, and he died. He died. He never saw it. He never saw Disney World. And what the story goes, or how the story goes, the day of the ribbon cutting, they had this gigantic group of people and 2 senior vice presidents on stage. As they were watching the ribbon cutting, the one turned to the other, the one executive vice president turned to the other and says, man, I wish Walt was here to see this. And the other one turned back and he said this, Walt did see it, or we wouldn't be here. My friends, your life must follow your vision. Your life must follow your rumbling on the ceiling. What are they doing?
It's not Christmas, so it's not Santa Claus.
Your life must follow your vision. You've got to have a vision. You have to have a dream. Martin Luther King, standing on the platform in Washington, D.C., thousands upon thousands of people in front of him. And here's what he said. You have to have a strategic plan. No, he didn't say that, did he? He said you have to have a dream. You have to have a vision. In the Bible it says without the vision the people perish. People are perishing today because they've left their dream. Oh, they have all sorts of reasons and excuses. Well, I'll never be able to do it. I'm just not made for this. I can't. What's your dream? The only way that you're going to be able to survive in life normally is to keep that dream empowered in your brain. I sat on a board many, many years ago with a gentleman named Bill Marriott Jr. He did pretty good. He made a few hotels. And I was visiting with him at a committee meeting. I said, how do you do it? I travel all over the world. No matter where I go, it's so consistent. Your general managers are amazing. They're always so professional and always so kind. And how do you do it? How do you find this kind of talent? I mean, do you take them from another competitive hotel? Do you get them out of the hotel and restaurant administration, the top of their class? How do you do it? And he looked at me and said, no, Bob. He said, that's not what I do. He says, I have a way of finding talent based upon how well they relate to others. Relationships. Number 4. Your life, you're going to grow more on relationships than you will resumes. You hear me? I see so many kids today, young people and even adults, sending out these resumes and, how am I going to... Folks, get involved in some sort of network. I don't care if it's the chamber, the JC's, church. How about that? Get around people that can see you, meet you, and you can create a relationship with them. You want to get hired? Get in front of people that are looking, that they can interview you right there without you even know it. See, relationships are so key. And the 5th thing and final thing is this. Lighten up. Have some fun. My wife said that the day that I go home to see the Lord, she's going to put on my headstone there, or whatever you call those things. He was just kidding. He was just kidding. He was never serious. He was just kidding. And I have a lot of fun. I think that's what's really kept me moving more than anything. I find humor in everything. You do not want me at your funeral. You do not want me on your sick bed, because I'll find something funny and I'll laugh you into eternity because I just believe it's a gift. It's a gift to release some of the stress that we have. I was going to an event the other day, and I needed some cash, and I went through the teller window, and the teller said, Mr. Goshen, you want a couple $100? How do you want it? What size bills do you want? And I said 8.5 by 11. And she just looked at me a little strange. I was in McDonald's the other day, little 16-year-old gal, good-looking little gal on the other side of the cash register. I ordered my Egg McMuffin and coffee. She said, Mr. Goshen, do you want to eat that here or take it with you? I said, hopefully both. And like many of you right now, she just stared at me like a deer in a headlight. Have some fun. Lighten up. I was on a flight recently coming back from New York City, and it was they had a terrible meeting. I had a great meeting, but it was a National Association of Embalmers and Caretakers, so you can't do a whole lot for them. No offense, guys. But so I get on the plane. It's a red eye. I sit down, and I've got 3 million air miles with American, and so the stewardess, flight attendant, came up and she said, Mr. Goshen, would you like to have dinner tonight? I went, oh Lord, do I want to have dinner? I said, what's my choices? She said, yes or no. Folks, lighten up, lighten up. Life isn't this serious. It's going to go on. Generations before us have already been forgotten, so let's just lighten up. Guys, those are the 5 precepts. You go back and you listen, you write them down and incorporate them into your life. And I can assure you, things in life will come together much quicker. Bob Goshen, Houston, Texas.